Get ready to be activated and mind blown. As a child, have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered, where did we come from? Why are we here? How was the universe created? Where are we going? What is the nature of existence? Are we alone in the universe? I don't think so. Is there extraterrestrial life in the universe? This can't be it, really cannot be it. Is there a cosmic order, a divine design to all that exists? If you're interested in the answer to all these questions and more, and I'm talking a lot more, this is definitely the show for you. The great shift is upon us. There really is no time to waste. And are you on the positive ascending timeline? If you are, great. If you're not sure, you don't want to miss a moment of this amazing conversation. Fasten your seatbelts, or actually unfasten your seatbelts and get ready. You are about to enter a galactic activation portal. Prepare for ascension. You're about to get activated. That's what this channel is for. It's for your activation. I am Heaven. Welcome to Conversations with Goddess. If this is your first time visiting our magical channel in this part of the universe, you may want to consider subscribing and joining the global family of light. We bring you guests and information for your expansion, your elevation, your inspiration, your ascension. You know you are a part of the global family of light, so what are you waiting for? On the show today, my guest is ISMAEL PEREZ, awakened starseed, galactic ambassador, mystic light warrior. You're going to find out what all of that means, probably a whole lot more that you didn't even expect. Author of the groundbreaking, life-changing, activating book, Our Cosmic Origin. And the person who's going to give you quite a few answers to those questions and probably blow your mind. There's going to be some truth bombs and information transmitted today, and watch all the way to the end because you don't want to miss a moment of this powerful transmission. Fasten your seatbelts, or actually unfasten your seatbelts and get ready. You are about to enter a galactic activation portal. Prepare for ascension. Welcome to the show, ISMAEL.
Thank you, Heaven, for having me here.
For those who are not yet familiar with your work, would you please share a little about yourself and how you came to be on this mission?
I consider myself an incarnated celestial, a volunteered soul, just like many of you. I guess the general term to describe us is starseeds, because we do come from higher dimensions. Starseeds are not only coming from the fifth, they're actually coming from dimensions all the way up to the 12th. I've been awakened ever since I became aware myself of being in this third dimensional human avatar.
Please give us a definition of starseed.
Absolutely. A starseed is a volunteered soul that took the call when Mother Earth, as a sentient living entity, decided to give a clarion call for the most powerful souls out in the multiverse. They could bring in and act as anchor points to bring in more of the higher frequencies in order for the Earth to ascend into a higher dimension, which is what's happening now as a result of that. So a starseed is one of many volunteered souls. The first person to bring light to that was Dolores Cannon. May she rest in peace. There is a mission and purpose that is associated with not only being anchor points, but also there is a divine purpose. Each starseed contains some sort of a divine template. They have some encoding within their DNAs. And those encodings are corresponding to the magnetic and the grid patterns, or the grid systems of the planet, those that we call ley lines. So that explains why they are geographically spread all across the globe, because they're actually here as not only anchor points of the higher gamma ray frequencies, but they're also here to pretty much create a new grid system. And that explains why the Earth is now ready to ascend into the fifth dimension and above. I believe that the starseeds are what many religious texts talked about when they talked about the return of the host of heaven, the return of the angels. Little did they know that they were actually coming back in human form, that they were supposed to incarnate and infiltrate this matrix from within. Starseeds are the ones that everyone's expecting.
We are the ones that we are waiting for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Share with us the meaning of the stargates and their locations?
Absolutely. Earth is what is called a decimal planet. It is a living cosmic experiment that possesses what is known as the Halls of Amenti. The Halls of Amenti are actually 12 different stargates that connect the Earth back to the eternal life systems, as she was once before she became severed and dropped into a lower octave, because even Earth is existing on a lower frequency. The original Earth existed in a very high level of reality known as the Aramatena Earth, which existed in dimension 12. So the original Earth was there, and it was an eternal Earth. Stargates, which are represented by different levels and realms. For instance, you have the 12th dimensional Stargate, which is represented by Earth's higher self. Underneath that, you have the 11th dimensional Stargate, which is represented by the Abion Earth and Lyra, cradle of all human civilizations, as I reveal in my book. And then you also have the 9th dimensional Earth, which is the star system of Vega. You have the 8th dimensional Earth, which is the star system of Avalon. And then you have the 7th dimensional Earth, which is represented by the star system of Meroc, which connects us to Andromeda. And then you have the 6th dimensional Earth, which is in Sirius B, as to why the Earth is part of the binary star system. So just to make a long story short, all 12 stargates are actually located on different geographic points within our planet that are actually connecting the Earth back into all her different versions and all the way up to, again, the 12th dimension. And we are the only planet out of all the planets within our universe that possesses and has these stargates. So Earth is considered, by virtue of that, the most guarded and protected planet by the various light beings out there that are all here assisting us at this time.
Oh, thank Goddess. So let me ask you, since this is Conversations with Goddess, I have heard in other interviews you mention the Motherverse. So could you give us an idea of what is the Motherverse as compared to the universe, the metaverse, the omniverse? There are a lot of verses there. So could you clarify, please, all the different verses?
Just to let you guys know, I'm drinking Mountain Valley spring water.
Can't really see it. It disappeared because of the screen.
Water in a glass container as opposed to a plastic. As you know, water from plastic bottles are actually poisonous. They have a lot of carcinogens that come off of the bottles. I just wanted to throw out there. Healthier to drink water from a filter or from a glass container.
Thank you. I'm change it to a glass container. You were sharing with us that you're an awakened starseed and you were very awakened at a young age. Would you say that you were telepathic?
Yes. For the most part, all starseeds are extreme intuitive empaths, highly developed ESP, highly sensitive to other people's thoughts and emotions, and animals as well. And some of the starseeds have always been in tune with the consciousness field of Mother Earth and the elements as well, as to why they sense earthquakes before they happen, as to why through their abilities are actually able to counteract what HAART does or what these weather modification technologies do in order to neutralize it. So yeah, the starseeds have all these abilities, and the ones that have been awakened since earlyhood, I would say that they have always been telepathic, yes. However, there is, because of the programming, the heavy programming period where we actually kind of suppress these abilities to then later see them come out later in our life as we explore yoga, meditation, and as we, pursue the spiritual path, and they slowly and surely come back. But a lot of us go through those stages where, due to our heavy programming, we are kind of compelled subconsciously to suppress our abilities that we were actually already born with. Mm-hmm. And that is a typical starseed
pattern.
Yeah, it's a typical of some starseeds, not all. Let me just verify now, not all. Some of them are actually, despite the programming, are very resilient to the programming and are able to maintain their abilities without, having to suppress them subconsciously.
Yeah, in spite of how the matrix and the system tries to push that down, I would say that I was probably one of them, because I know in listening to some of your other interviews, you were, as a child, somewhat suppressed because of the religious upbringing and also bullied a little bit. Is that true?
Oh, that's typical as well, because we are so different. Mm-hmm. It's hard for us to have friends and kind of relate and resonate with people. So
Totally. I completely relate. I understand.
it's normal, but that also sharpens us. Being bullied is actually works in our favor because it allows us to develop forgiveness and compassion for those that perhaps didn't have no clue of what they were doing. So it allows us to become more humble.
Okay. Interesting, because when I was 3 or 4 years old and went to a Catholic preschool, I was picked on by the bully in the sandbox. And unlike the usual pattern, for some strange reason, I stood up to the bully. And being a cute little girl, he didn't know who he was up against, which was a galactic priestess with a lot of warrior energies. And I kind of beat him up.
Right.
So I share that story. I don't know if it's something that's cool, but you're also a bit of a light warrior, so you understand. It helps to come in with resilient energies.
Yes, I do have memories of galactic wars, mainly against Omicrons, Dragon Moth Draconians, which is what we have been battling, very malicious reptilian race that are considered fallen angels, children of Lucifer.
Are these the Dracos that you're referring to?
Yes, there's different types. It's like a caste. They do have a caste. You have the Royal House of Draco, which are these bipedal dragons with wings, and some of them have tails. And then you have different levels underneath them. Ones that were the most, you could say, malicious and powerful opponents to beat were pretty much the Omicrons, the Dragon Moths, which are the Royal Dracos. They were defeated by the felines, of course, because where I come from, planet Avion, Lyra, the original race was a very powerful warrior-like race. They were the felines of Lyra. And throughout history, the felines of Lyra, throughout galactic history, rather, because we are involving many worlds, and their genetics has been used in order to upgrade even more powerful warriors that came into the scene in the future. So we could say that all the different warrior races out there that have a Jedi type of fighting skills that are extremely powerful and fast and have no fear is because they have inherited feline genetics. When it comes to the forces of light, we could say that the felines are the most fierce, pretty much the most powerful beings that exist throughout our universe. They do come from other universes. Their existence comes from different types, or they exist in other universes. And then you asked me a question about the Motherverse and the Omniverse and the Central Universe. What is the difference?
Please return to that, because I'm fascinated by the Motherverse. Is the Motherverse from which all verses have been birthed?
Yes, pretty much. There are the realms of eternity, which have always existed without beginning or end. And we could actually compare this to the esoteric knowledge of the Gnostics and the ancient mystery schools that speak about the always existing realms. They call it eternity. And then you have the realms that are in between eternity and the finite. You have the realms that are considered an in-between point of eternity. So to answer your question, the Motherverse is equivalent to what the esoteric philosophers call the eternal realms. They have always existed. They have never had a beginning or end. These realms are equated to what the Urantia papers reveal to be the central universe of Havana. When you compare the central universe of Havana with the esoteric explanation of the eternal realms that have been eventuated without beginning or end, and tied in with what cutting-edge science is saying through superstring theory and M theory and unified field theory, talking about this always existing motherverse. They call it the metaverse, which has nothing to do with Facebook conversion to meta. That's something else. That's totally AI stuff. But it's they're explaining a type of motherverse that is actually constantly giving birth to universes. So we could say that our universe is one of many universes that has been born out of the metaverse. We could also compare what we call the universes to the realms of the finite, as explained in the esoteric knowledge as well. So you have the eternal realms, and then you have the realms of the finite, where time and space exists, or what we call the holographic simulation that we're in, which is held together through consciousness. Of course, the moment the consciousness is gone, everything collapses into a waveform. But when the conscious interfaces with that particular electromagnetic field, then the wave collapses into the particle form. So we could say that within the local universes, there are different grades and different levels of wave particle collapsing, explaining the different dimensions. The higher we go in dimensions, the more wave-like we become, and that explains the idea of becoming more light. The lower we go in dimensions, the more particle and congealed and condensed we become, and that explains the world of the manifest. So in either case, it's all part of one light energy spectrum that extends itself from the always existing realms, which is what I call in my book the central universe, or the motherverse.
Beautiful.
Now, the omniverse is what encompasses it all. So you have the motherverse that breaks off into different segments. Some people call them super universes. Some people call them grand universes. And then those segments break up into further segments. And it's a factorization procedure that continues to break off, where each segment breaks off. And that explains why the part is always resembling the entire picture in terms of the hologram, and how everything's connected as one. It's really just the oneness dividing itself into different infinite amount of parts. That's called the involution, or the descent, right, of the one breaking off into the many. But then there is also the reverse of that, which is the ascend, or coming back into oneness. And that is the process that we are all undergoing now as we ascend. We are ultimately, as we go further beyond the fifth dimension, we're ultimately going to reunite with the universal consciousness of the always existing realms. And that's where we're heading.
I'm going to read something here that I heard you say, which was really powerful. The ultimate creator, or creatrix, as I would prefer to say, the all-nurturing substance, which you call the Great Mother, some call Sophia, was what birthed Christ, and ultimately is sort of the embodiment of the motherverse. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, she's also the highest spiritual consciousness of planet Earth. And that's why our planet is the most important planet, because our planet is the avatar, the physical embodiment of Sophia, the Great Mother.
Beautiful. The Earth, as I've heard you say also, you've referenced it as a living library. Why do you use that term?
Because that's the term that is being used by the galactic community and the stellar civilizations. They know that the Earth is a potpourri of many different races, many different faunas and flora that came from across many different universes to create a very diverse ecosystem that houses and contains the best of all of creation in one spot. Because of that, she is considered a cosmic living library. And yeah, so that's why I call her a living library. And this statement is actually supported by others that have revealed that the Earth is part of sort of a cosmic experiment. In the Urantia papers, they call it a decimal world. A decimal world is a world that is far more important than any other world, because they're being used to experiment with genetics and different essences and different seedings from different parts of the cosmos put into one spot. So they call it a decimal world. And so our world, out of all the different decimal worlds out there, is by far the most diverse when it comes to being some sort of an intergalactic zoo of DNA from across the multiverse in one spot.
Please explain the 12 dimensions.
The 12 dimensions is a structure that encompasses our local universe. I think every universe has about 12 dimensions. And then each dimension within each local universe further divides into 12. So we have a total of 144 densities within each, because 12 times 12 is 144,000. And this is where we get the concept of the 144,000, which has nothing to do with 144,000 individuals, but it has to do a lot with attainment of a certain frequency, a hertz, as well as genetic expression. That's what 144,000 is. It's also the 12 dimensions divided into 12, because each dimension is also 12 densities within each dimension. So we have a total of 144 densities that exist within our local universe. So the best way to explain the 12 dimensions is we are part of a system that is associated with the numerical value system of the 12. We have 12 strands of DNA, we have 12 chakras, 7 inner, 5 outer, the 12 houses of the zodiac, the 12 major creations. So because we live in a system of the 12, everything is run by the 12 different archetypes as well. So each dimension is one of those. We live in a 12-dimensional universe. If we attain the 12th dimension, we no longer need a physical vessel. We become pure light. So right now in the third dimension, we're using a type of matter that is very dense. But as we ascend through the ladder, as we go into the fourth and fifth dimension, we still maintain physical form all the way up until the 12th dimension. At that point, we choose to just be pure light or pure energy.
We are going through the ascension process, right? Where we, the starseeds and the beings on Earth, are actually ascending with Mother Gaia at this time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Important to understand that the Earth herself contains the 12 dimensions because of the 12 stargates that are here. So we're the only planet that could actually access the 12th dimension, which is the doorway that leads to the Motherverse. And the key to have access to that doorway is encoded within our genetics.
How so? How is it encoded?
Oh, it was put there by the founders, by the Elohim races.
I'd love to return to my initial questions. Where do we come from? And how is this universe created? And perhaps that was part of the answer.
Well, the universe was created by a collaboration of many universes that came to combine their essences and energies to create a potpourri type of universe, a melting pot. So just like how the Earth is a melting pot of seedings from across the multiverse, our universe is also the melting pot of the multiverse and the many universes that exist, all within the periphery structure of the seventh super universe, which is one segment of the Motherverse. Remember how we talked about how it divides first into 7?
Speaking of the 7, would you break down the 7 chakras of the Earth for us, please?
The Earth, just like ourselves, is made out of meridians with energy centers. So the Earth has 7 major chakras, geographically located on different parts, like ancient sites, really, where ley lines cross, creating an energetic vortex. I don't really know the exact 7, but I think it's England, Absbury is one of them. Kauai is one of the islands in Hawaii is one of them. Mount Shasta, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Nazca Lines in South America. Just like how we have chakras, the Earth has chakras. The Earth's chakras are also connected to the 12 living stargates.
12 living stargates, right? And
Yes.
do you know the location of those stargates?
I don't, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to reveal that because of the fact that the dark forces have been after those stargates because they also want to have access to the realms of eternity.
That's what I heard, that those who control the stargates controls what happens on
Everything, exactly. And that explains why the dark forces through the Large Hadron Collider have been trying so hard in Switzerland, CERN, have been trying so hard to create artificial stargates through the opening of portals in order to allow unwelcomed entities into our realm. But luckily, those portals are very heavily monitored. And so every time they open up a portal, there's you could say a high-level guardian that appears on the scene and closes it right away. And that explains why our planet hasn't yet been swallowed up into a black hole or thrown into an alternative universe where everything gets destroyed, or, you know, malicious, nefarious monsters come through and destroy everything. That's the only reason why, is because there is always a guardian at the site where the Large Hadron Collider is located. Unbeknownst to them, of course. You know, these are beings that operate in dimensions that are beyond 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Who are the guardians? There's an alliance of guardians. Galactic guardians of the Earth, right? They're galactic guardians of the universe. And I pray that there are guardians of the new Earth, which I believe you are part of, right?
Yes, we all are.
Okay.
Every single starseed belongs to what is known as the Order, or the Covenant of Palador, which is the Emerald Covenant, or the Emerald Order. The Emerald Order is another way of describing the alliances of the many forces of light. The original order descended from the always existing Motherverse, from the central universe, through the founders, the Patals, the founders of, or the original guardians, the Eternal of Days, the Celestial of Days. There's so many terminologies to describe them. An interdimensional organization that was created by the central race of the Mother Universe. As it descended into lower dimensions, there has been different members of different universes that have pretty much aligned and have become a part of this order. However, some have defected from the order, and those that defect we call the fallen angels, or we call the fallen Elohim, or the fallen seraphim. Lucifer was part of the covenant, the Emerald Covenant, and he defected.
Why did he defect? I'm curious.
Well, he experienced separation from the oneness of everything, and when he was exploring lower dimensions, he disconnected himself from Source and decided to take things in his own hands. And so he kind of decided to rebel. He created the United Resistance against the One, which has a lot to do with going against the divine plan, the cosmic divine plan, the great divine plan. They came to understand that even his fall was orchestrated by Prime Creator Source in order to create more expansion of the Motherverse and more growth from the contrast of duality, which is just temporary. And that explains why evil is always on the losing side, because it's all being divinely orchestrated by a higher good.
Okay, good. I've heard you say many times that the war has already been won. That's good news. We want to hear how the war was already won.
The way it works is the forces of light always begin to cleanse dimensions from the higher realms, and then they kind of trickle down into the lower realms. The original war took place, according to cosmic history, approximately 350 years ago, when the fallen Elohim, Seraphim, which we call Lucifer.
Wait, 350 years ago?
No, 50 billion years ago.
Okay, all right, just clarifying.
A little over that, maybe 400 billion years, just around there, where the fallen Elohim decided to go against the divine plan. And so the first thing they tried to do was to blow up the 12-dimensional stargate known as Earth Aramatena. And that was known as the War of the Elohim. The War of the Elohim was about trying to have access to the realms of eternity without yet completing the integration of spirit and matter. So the forces of light, the central race, those that didn't join the Luciferian rebellion, were actually able to secure the 12th dimension. And then after that, the war fell into the 8th dimension, which began the Galactic Wars. Luckily, the forces of light, through the establishment of the Intergalactic Alliance of the Seal of Palador, which is an interdimensional treaty that was signed by many universes, were able to also win that war in the 8th dimension. And then as it continued, it echoed throughout the time. That was one final round where, a lot of the fallen angelics, or what we call negative ETs, unfortunately, after they were cleansed from the higher regions as the forces of light, the Galactic Alliance, then known as the Federation of Free Worlds, was able to narrow the battle down to just the solar system and this planet. And so that's why all accounts agree that the last battle is going to take place here to finally finish them off. So that's how I say the battle has already been won, because what happens in the higher dimensions ultimately reflects in the lower dimensions. Yeah.
You also talk about a positive ascending timeline, which is so encouraging and important to share with people.
Absolutely. So there is God's plan. There is the divine organic plan of all creation. And then there is the inorganic plan, which is being driven by AI.
AI, you said. Okay.
Yeah, AI is the ultimate evil. For those that have followed my work, artificial intelligence is the ultimate enemy in the cosmos. As we are seeing a lot of people that have been doing the spiritual work, we're going to see them when the stargates open up. We're going to see them translate into the Terra Earth, which is already coexisting. This new heaven on earth, this fifth dimensional reality, is already coexisting with our world. And so the people that are going about it spiritually, by doing the work, by not merging with the technology, are going to be able to go into that positive ascending timeline, which is the Terra Earth, the original Earth that we fell from initially before the dark forces infiltrated us during the times of Atlantis. So we're going to be restored back to that, where Atlantis is still fully intact, Lemuria is still fully intact, Tartaria is still fully intact, and all these beautiful societies, magical landscapes.
What happened in these magical landscapes like Lemuria and Atlantis, etc.?
There was a balance between spirit and matter. There was a balance between spirituality and technology, living accordingly in harmony with the universal laws of the sacredness of oneness, unity consciousness, the law of the one, tenets of the teachings of the Emerald Order. That's where the law of one comes from. I know people say, well, it was disclosed by the raw material. Well, who do you think the raw material is working for? They're all part of the same covenant. But when different races were living in harmony, we could say, it was a Garden of Eden. And so these societies existed at one point, and they still do on different timelines.
Please share with us about your inspiration for your book, Our Cosmic Origin, and what are our cosmic origins?
What inspired me was knowing that everything we've ever been taught in this world, in conventional society, is
lies, lies, lies.
all a great lie. So I've been inspired by forces greater than myself, perhaps my star family, perhaps my higher self, but I've always felt like I've been led by something that was working through me to, not only giving me the downloads, but to do the research to actually support the data. My whole life, I felt like I've been a vehicle of something greater than myself. And that's what inspired Our Cosmic Origin. I felt inspired from day one to write the book, as if something greater than myself was working through me. And I knew that it was similar to the movie, The Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you write it, it will resonate with people, those that are ready to understand. And so I wrote the book. It took me 10 years. I would only write when I felt inspired. The whole purpose of Our Cosmic Origin is to remind everybody about our celestial beginning, that we are immortal, eternal beings of light, that we originated in the higher spheres and the eternal realms as children of the light, and we will return to the light as children of oneness of everything that is. And so in Our Cosmic Origin, the main premise of the book is to explain our celestial beginning, our galactic exploration of space and time through different dimensions and the different levels of reality, and the different vehicles that we inhabited to experience the different dimensions.
Dear Cosmic Explorers, I have something special to share with you. If you're longing to immerse yourself in our captivating journey of our cosmic origin, I have great news. For those of you who appreciate the enchantment of storytelling, the audiobook is available on all major platforms. It allows you to bring the celestial story to life, allowing you to experience every moment in a deep connection. And for those who cherish the tangible experience of holding a book, you may find Our Cosmic Origin available on ebook, hardcover, and softcover on Amazon. Feel the weight of cosmic knowledge in your hands as each page unravels the secrets of our cosmic origin. However you choose to embark on this cosmic adventure, I am grateful to have you join me on this extraordinary journey of discovery. Together, let's unravel the wonders of our cosmic heritage.
Please share with us about our galactic history and also what are the galactic prophecies?
Absolutely. So our galactic history originated in Lyra approximately 560 million years ago on a eighth dimensional Earth known as planet Avion. And in planet Avion, the original humans were immortal. They were a 12-strand DNA Terranusian race, also known as the angelic race. And they were protected by the felines. The felines were the 12th dimensional and 11th dimensional entities that were the guardians of the original humans. How the story goes is that the origins of all human society originated there. And through the wars with the Dracos, many of the early Lyrans sought refuge in other solar systems and in other galaxies. So that's how eventually the human population spread from Tau Ceti, the humans from Epsilon Eridani, from Andromeda, from Sirius, from the upper system of Orion, you name it. They all come from Lyra. And the galactic history...
Yourself, you said, came from Lyra, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes, my Lyran version of who I was. And similar to the movie Star Wars, you have the draconian reptilians representing the dark side, which are the children of Lucifer, and they originated in the lower belt of Orion. Unlike the humans of Lyra, they were given a creation myth to abide by, which was to conquer and enslave and do whatever they wanted with planets, use them as resources and toss them, sell them, whatever they want, and destroy them. And the humans were giving the opposite creation myth in that. The humans were, as children of the One, they were instructed to live in harmony with other specimens and other races and bring the idea in the philosophy of a loving co-creation with the one infinite creator. And so, of course, those two different philosophies clashed. That's what led to the Galactic Wars. But the original humans didn't have any external technology. Everything they did was through the power of their mind. They were very highly consciously advanced, where they would interface with their planetary field and the elements of their planet to pretty much create elaborate, all natural organic complexes in forests and in parks and recreational areas. And so they were more similar to the Pandorans of the movie Avatar, where they were all in tune with the ecosystem. And it was just one type of existence, you know, of species. Whereas the Draconians depended on external technology. So what I come to discover is that the humans were actually operating from their higher chakras, and the Draconians were operating from their lower chakras. So they were kind of like the polar opposite. And that explains the, you know, how the war between good and evil originated in our local universe was between the original human Lyrans and the Draconian reptilians of Orion. And of course, that's history that people could take on my online courses. I do teach a starseed cosmology where I break everything down in detail, and it almost reads like a movie. You know,
it sounds like a movie. It sounds like Hollywood would definitely come up with. In other interviews, I've heard you talk about what would happen to us once there is the solar flash. So let's go there and share with us about this event.
It's a prophesied event that echoes throughout the annals of all history, coming forth from the prophecies of galactic societies, knowing of a time when all the cycles would reach completion and come into alignment. And so it has a lot to do with the restoration and activation of the original 12-strand DNA Terranusian angelic race. In other words, you know, it is an event that will literally transform us overnight into multi-dimensional physical angels while maintaining fifth-dimensional form,
Awesome.
which was foretold in the ancient records of the original oracles before they were modified and corrupted by the religious organizations. And so that's what they talk about. It's the return of the celestials, the return of the angels, the return of the gods and goddesses, but in human form.
Right. Now, there was a time frame that was given for when this was supposed to happen. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on the planet right now, collective dark night of the soul that is really pushing everyone to evolve to a higher embodiment of their highest selves in order to facilitate this transition to the new earth. Would you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, it's a dualistic effort. It's happening because of us, and it's happening also for us in a sense where even planets as sentient conscious entities, the galaxy Melchior as as a galactic entity, and our universe, which is a conscious entity at the highest levels of reality, are all working together in tandem to help, you know, bring the Earth into a higher state of creation or a new reality that will no longer experience suffering or dark ages or imbalances, where justice will prevail, truth, integrity, light. It's happening because of us, and it's also happening because it's destined. You know, the entire the entire universe is actually working towards that. And that's why CMEs are getting stronger, because our sun is a living entity that is actually.
What are CMEs? What does that stand for?
Coronal mass ejections.
Okay. That is all helping to facilitate the shift, right?
Yes. It's actually upgrading us genetically. It's also clearing up a lot of lower densities. It explains why some of us are going through the dark night of the soul, because we have to let go of that lower vibrational density that binds us to the human experience, because we're going beyond human now. We're going into the next stage of human evolution, which is luminous, homo luminous.
Homo luminous. I love that. So share with us, what can people do to assist this transition from the human experience to the human luminous? Is that what it is?
Homo luminous, first and foremost, taking care of their body, eating right, drinking healthy water, good water, not water that is combined with chemicals from plastics, eating organic, exercising, meditating, establishing 20 to 30 minutes of a personal relationship with the divine. And the more they do that, the more they're also going to be able to facilitate a collective ascension for the rest of humanity who is not doing that. So for the StarSeeds, the way showers, those that volunteer, we're the ones that are making that happen. Yeah, there's multiple things you could do. Spend time with nature. Let go of negative vibrational people that no longer serve your highest good. You know, this is where you have to start drawing boundaries in order for you to continue resonating at a high frequency. Most importantly, learn how to forgive yourself. By forgiving yourself, you're letting go of the emotional density, perhaps even trauma. And when you do that, you begin to become lighter. You begin to absorb more of this higher frequencies that are coming in through our sun.
I love that. And I've always known that we're supposed to experience heaven on the new earth that is being birthed at this time. And ultimately, we are moving into a new golden age. Please speak into that. I want to hear about the new golden age and heaven on the new earth.
New golden age is going to be marked by harmony, cooperation, justice, freedom. It's going to be a world where only Christed-like beings exist, where there will be no need for government because everyone's going to be living according to spiritual laws. People are going to have full consciousness. People are going to be in tune with the cycles, the elements. The fairies are coming back, the dragons, the magical creatures. It's all going to be restored to how it was during the times of Lemuria and Atlantis, where the magic is coming back. So it's going to definitely be a type of all organic, natural, paradisical earth where people are going to be connected to their light body, and by doing so, they're going to be able to manifest at the speed of light anything that they want beyond money.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
The economy won't exist in the fifth dimensional Earth.
Yay. And what is going to happen in the transition, the shift, the ages from what we're currently experiencing to that golden age of heaven on the new earth?
Well, what we're going to definitely see is a complete disintegration of the old Earth, which is coexisting already with the new Terra Earth. And as a total collapse of the old Earth comes in the third dimension, things are actually going to lead to a climax. It's going to appear as if things are going to just be getting worse. Those that are on the ascending path, they're going to be disappearing from that. They're going to be kind of translating from that Earth into the new Earth when the stargates open at the onset of the solar flash.
But so it's not like we're going to be uplifted and taken somewhere else. We're just literally shifting.
We're just shifting realities. That's all we're doing. You know, we're not going anywhere. All we're going to do is translate from one reality to the next, which is already coexisting with this reality. As this one crumbles, the other reality is already there waiting for us.
Beautiful. So would you please share with us where people can find you?
Absolutely. So I do have a website where I teach online courses. I teach a starseed cosmology class that goes into the cosmic and galactic history in great detail. We explore all the dimensions from 1 to 10, the chakras from 1 to 12. We talk about the prophecies. We talk about the history of Nibiru, the untold history of Nibiru, the truth about the Anunnaki. We talk about the 15-dimensional. I mean, there's just so much knowledge, cosmic knowledge.
Oh my goddess, I want to hear about the real truth of the Anunnaki. Can you give us a little bit of that before we complete?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I also wanted to point out that I did drop the price of my course just for the month of August. So the class starts in the first week of August for those that want to, take my
course. In the show notes along with your IG handle.
Is a Project Restoration Zion 1. Project Restoration Zion 1.
Okay, perfect. A little bit about the Anunnaki, and then we'll close out.
Absolutely. So the original Anunnaki came from Sirius B. It was a genetic alliances that took place from the 12 Elohim houses of Lyra and the Syrian council where they brought in Maharishi races from the central universe to create a very powerful warrior race that would operate both on a physical level and on a non-physical level, which explains the divine powers like the Jedis, the lineage of the Jedis, how they were so telekinetic and had these amazing abilities. Well, the original Anunnaki were known as the Anuhasi, and they were created in order to combat the expanding royal empire, Draco Empire. But throughout the history of the Anunnaki, there's been many attempts by the Draconians and the Reptilians to infiltrate the original royal house of the Anuhasi. The reason nowadays they call them the Anunnaki is because it's just a terminology describing the children of Anu. But even Anu comes from the direct lineage of the Anuhasi. So yeah, that's what the Anunnaki was. So you have now two types of Anunnakis as a result of the infiltration that came about by the queen of Draco, known as Draman, who gave us Enki. So you have the what we call the Enki Marduk line, which is the line that created the slave race, right? And they still want to control us through their Illuminati hybrid puppets, Cabal families. And then you also have the Elohim Eliona races, which is what we call the Holy Grail lineages that come from the Seraphim, those that didn't rebel against the one, which were the Adamic gods, the children of Zeus, Athena, who carry the scales of justice. And then, of course, later that bloodline manifests in the form of King David. They were also the Druids and the Celts, the original Holy Grail, which is where King David's lineage comes from, Solomon, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, King Arthur, just to name a few.
Wow.
So we have two competing royal bloodlines that stem from these Anunnaki brothers, yeah.
Something that we can definitely have you back to explore on another show, because there's so much more information and many more transmissions that I know that you are here to bring through that we can't even begin to cover in this one show. We've done our best to answer as many of those questions as possible. So final question is about the return of the Mother Goddess, because obviously that is something that I am so incredibly resonant with, and the people who watch this channel.
Absolutely. It means multiple things. It means the return into balance of the feminine divine energies, the restoration of what we call the emotional, spiritual aspect of God, which is represented by a female energy, the womb of all creation. It also means the return of the Holy Mother Shekinah, like the bride of Yahweh, Yahweh being like our Father God, the creator of our universe. And then in some cases, it also means its reconnection back into the eternal life systems of the Mother Universe. So in the Book of Enoch, the Keys of Knowledge is called the restoration of the Shekinah universe as it merges with our universe. Where everything's back into balance and everything is honoring the sacredness of all living things. So that, it means a lot of things. Seeing it rise in the females, the women StarSeeds, you guys have been incarnated many of times as a high priestess. We're seeing that balance, that recalibration coming through you guys. You guys are also pretty much I want to say the ones that are leading the way, most of the StarSeeds.
It's a time where more and more of the feminine energy finally on the planet is starting to rise. We're recognizing the importance of balance, the divine feminine alongside of the divine masculine, so that we can really have wholeness and unity consciousness. And ultimately, it is a time that we really need to honor feminine leadership and the Divine Mother.
Absolutely. So that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing the return of Mother Mary, Isis, the archetypes being born for all the starseed women out there like yourself.
Thank you. So on that note, I just want to say I would love to have you back on another show where we take a deep dive into the subject of the divine feminine. Why has the goddess been so repressed and silenced through millennia? And what can we do to empower her return? I mean, she's never left. She maybe has gone underground, but she's never truly left. And why has she been so suppressed? Could you just speak into that one little piece before we complete?
Due to the chunk that broke off from the initial Immaculate Conception when the One, Prime Creator, decided to explore more of itself, that chunk that later developed into the Archon energy knew that the only way to sever the ascension process of the divine plan was to keep the mother in a state of suffering, the mother aspect of the father, the mother aspect of creation, by suppressing that as much as possible. So that's the reason why the feminine principle has always been mostly attacked by the negative forces, because it is the one principle that actually nourishes the masculine principle, because without the feminine principle, there is no creation, there is no nourishment, there is no womb.
I heard you speak on another interview show about singing and the power of the music of the spheres. And share with us what singing does and why it's such a powerful spiritual practice.
The way creation comes into being, the way the manifest comes into being is through light, frequency, sound, vibration. In turn, the light gives birth to the geometric patterns, which shapes different levels of reality or dimensions. Singing is a way of using vibration to create and upgrade and uplift fallen states of reality. It's a way to bring your vibrational state of existence back into balance.
Love that. That is so, so beautiful. This is why I close every show with a song about the fact that you are eternally loved and that each and every one of us is truly a divine masterpiece. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing that powerful transmission about singing. And to be continued at another time. Thank you so much for joining us. Blessings.
Likewise. Blessings.
That was a massive download. Take a breath and let that all land. And as it's landing, I hope you got value out of it. Make sure to give it a like, share it out, drop us a comment, definitely subscribe, because if you watched all the way to the end, you know you are a member of the global family of light. And it is time to unite. It is time to wake up. And as he was sharing, there's such a powerful frequency shift when we use sound and singing. And this is a download from the Divine Mother to help you remember who you are. For all time, you are loved, even more than you can know. And with each passing day of life, we watch you as you've grown to be more full of wisdom, radiant and divine. Oh, dear soul, you're a masterpiece, a heavenly design. So may the goddess bless you and keep you all aglow. And we wish you loving kindness